It's noon here in Ventnor, New Jersey. Beautiful Ventnor, New Jersey today. Actually, a beach day. And this is news that you can use from CarEdge with your hosts, Zach and Ray, for Friday, April 14th. Zach, how are you today?
Pops, I
Yeah.
think someone's at the door.
Well, answer the damn thing.
It's Friday. That means Miss Kimberly Kline is with us. Hey, Kimberly, how are ya?
Hello. Very good. I'm so happy to see you both.
Oh, why do I have my green screen up? Oh, I forgot
I
to
was
take
just
it
gonna
down
ask.
from when we did videos earlier. Should I drop the green screen, Zach?
No, I don't want to see you potentially get hurt live on camera. Keep it up. You look good. It makes your skin look beautiful. Here's the deal, gang. Here's the deal. There's something going on when it comes to lending right now. And honestly, this story is not just in auto. We saw this with like the Silicon Valley Bank stuff and then First Republic Bank and things like that. There's something going on though. Banks are quitting auto lending. And what I mean by that, we're going to look into some of the data that Automotive News provide us with. Rejection rates for consumer auto loans up significantly. We're going to start there. Lenders who lend to dealers for floor planning are getting out of the game, literally quitting doing floor plan deals. I thought we'd start though with the data from Automotive News. Kimberly and Pops and Kimberly, we can get your take on this first. Let me pull it up on the screen for everyone who's playing along at home. The by the numbers section, auto loan rejection rates rise. February 2023, October 2022, February 2022. The line to look at here, gang, is this one. Rejection rate among auto loan applicants. Is that a pallet? No, that's not a palindrome. What is it when it's the reverse? 1.9 to 9.1. That's a palindrome. Is that a palindrome?
You're asking the wrong person.
We've gone from 1.9% rejection rates among auto loan applicants in February 2022 to 9.1% rejection rates in February 2023. Kimberly, what the heck does that say to you?
That says to me, it just solidifies the fact that lending is tightening, if not completely going away, but in this case, it is tightening. So, if you have a 600, maybe your income is a little shaky and your history of employment on and off, you might not get a loan because the guidelines are tightening, folks. So pay off your debt, get your credit score up there, make sure your DTI, your debt to income, looks better, because that right there tells me lending is really, really tightening up, meaning their guidelines for applicants is getting tighter and stricter.
Absolutely. I mean, and one of the things it's doing it is with interest rates up and selling prices up, that the monthly payments are higher. Well, those monthly payments being higher put people out of the debt to income range for additional debt to be able to get approved for a car loan. If rates were 3 or 4% lower, the payment could be $80 a month less. And then suddenly the customer would still qualify through debt to income. But with payments going up and the average amount financed going up, it's harder for more people to qualify. It takes people with either a large down payment or a very hefty credit score. Hefty.
We are, you can tell it's Friday around here. Oh yeah. Hefty credit score.
Sorry about that.
But it's pretty fascinating to see the huge swing, right? A year ago, 2% of people were getting rejected. Now, 9% of people are getting rejected. And I'm not making a case that 9% is, exceptionally high relative to where things were pre-pandemic, but it is a reversal. And it means that banks are taking less and less risk is what that says to me. And they're disinterested in lending to consumers for autos as much as they were in the past.
Maybe, Zach, it also means that there's less and less qualified customers that are in the market to buy cars. and that the more qualified customers might be sitting on the sideline to some degree, or paying. But I mean, so it could be tightening the guidelines. It could just be that there's less qualified people who are willing to try and finance the excessive amounts that are needed today in order to get a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be. Perfect storm, maybe, of that combined with the lending guidelines tightening up, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, if you were to think of it, maybe the folks are equally as qualified as they were a year ago, but if the interest rate has gone up so much and if the price of the vehicle year over year has gone up, well, then they're less qualified, even though their qualifications may have been the same. It's just the criteria to get approved has become more difficult. I thought that was one interesting angle of this. The other is the other side of automotive financial lending, which is headlines like this are now popping up in auto finance news.
Yeah.
Fifth Third, Capital One exit floor plan lending and commercial realignment. You have some banks, Kimberly and Pops, that are just getting out of lending in the auto space altogether. Now, to be very clear, Capital One and Fifth Third still do consumer auto loans, but they're no longer doing loans to dealers to purchase inventory. That's another sign here that banks are just finding less risky options to park their money than the auto industry. And I think that's a sign of how much volatility there has been and how much volatility there likely will be in the future as well.
Yeah, I know Ray can speak to the floor plan side of it. On the auto lending side of it, one of my favorite banks that I used often for a certain demographic of applicants was Citizens. Citizens has pulled back out of the auto lending space. I loved Citizens. They used to what we call buy deep, meaning over big advances for well-qualified buyers. I loved Citizens, had a good relationship with them, but they have pulled back, as well as other banks pulling back from auto lending as well. And I'm sure Ray can speak to the floor plan part of it.
Well, I think the floor plan part of it is twofold. One, dealers, even though inventories are increasing, dealers aren't utilizing as much of their floor plan availability as they had in the past. So that even though rates have gone up, the rate of return for the bank is less than what they would hope for it to have been if inventory levels were at pre-pandemic levels. And so many of these banks are looking at it and saying, we could deploy our money in other ways that will give us a stronger return on investment for our shareholders. And also, it could just mean that some banks are just thinking, you know what, we don't want to be in the floor plan business anymore. And if there's less competition on the floor plan side of things, it means that the banks that are still doing floor planning would be able to raise the rates that they get for the floor plan line of credits, because there is less competition. Either way, it doesn't bode well for dealerships, whether they be new car franchise dealerships or independent used car dealerships, because with less competition, there will definitely be higher rates. So those banks and lending institutions that remain on the floor plan side of things will be able to see a slightly better rate of return moving forward, I would think.
I think it's still a profitable product for banks, both consumer auto loans and floor plans to dealerships. The issue is it's riskier than it's ever been. And I think that's the reason why you're seeing some folks pull out of it. One other piece to hit on here that intertwines with all of this. This comes from Cox Automotive's April 11th weekly update. These are their leading indicators. And I hope they never stop just publishing these publicly, because there's so much that you can glean from this. Leads were down year over year so far in April on both AutoTrader and Kelley Blue Book, and leads were down for the month compared to March on both sites. Credit applications on DealerTrack were down 23% year over year last week. Unique applications on same-store basis saw declining trends week over week. I saw a question come through in the chat. Someone was asking, well, are there more or less credit applications. There are less, significantly less.
Yeah.
That data is insane to have access to. Go for it, Kimberly.
You are absolutely right. I'm so glad you showed that, Zach. That is so interesting to see. And some people are saying, well, is now the time for the cash buyer? No, it's not, because the dealership still has lenders and the dealership still wants you to finance more now than ever. They really don't want your cash. They want you to finance. So
I would respectfully disagree with that. And the reason that I will disagree with that is if it has become harder and harder for more and more people to qualify for a loan, I think dealerships would welcome those with cash, because they know once the numbers have been agreed upon, the deal can go through. Whereas if you're financing it, you could have put in all this time, effort, and energy to agree to a car deal and then not be able to get it financed. So I think that's not to discount the importance of the finance department and their ability to make additional money.
What I'm talking about.
Yes, yeah. but I think cash is stronger today to get a dealership's attention than it was a year ago. A year ago, they would fight you tooth and nail and tell you, oh, no, you have to finance through us. And today they might look at it and go, you know what? That next guy, we might not be able to get him approved. We'll take your cash gladly.
I agree with you for the most part, but two kinds of cash in full, cash deal.
Yes.
Finance managers don't want cash deals.
Oh, I know they do.
If you walk into the dealership and you have 20% plus, especially if you're not so great credit and you have 20%, 30, 40% to put down, I still want you to finance. That's a good finance deal for a finance manager. I know I'm going to probably get you bought if you've got more money to put down. So that's interesting. That's an interesting juxtaposition.
And look at this here from Justice, who's working deals every single day. From what I'm seeing with dealers this week, I agree with Kimberly. So I think there's still enough back end money. And maybe, Pops, this is also partly being influenced by the fact that front end gross margin continues to get compressed. And so there's the need to have people finance so that you can pack it with products and other things like that. You really are in an interesting position as consumers right now, where I think both situations bring strength to the table. It kind of depends on the temperature check of the dealership. Like, do they want to take cash, or do they want to try and pack you full of products, extended warranties, gap insurance, etc.?
And I would also think it would depend, if I may, on the size of that dealership's inventory. If you're a Buick dealership or a Ram dealership or a Jeep dealership and you have 90 days supply of inventory when the industry average is 56, I would think you would be more predisposed to be happy about a cash deal, just to be able to get rid of the excess product you have. Now, if you're a Toyota dealership and everything you have is pre-sold and you have realistically no on-hand inventory and limited inventory coming in, then you're going to want everything to be a finance deal.
And finance managers want everything to be a finance deal. No matter what.
Absolutely. Yes. Hey, we got a thoughtful contribution here from Jerry M. We appreciate that, Jerry. And we got Pops dancing. So well done, Jerry. Happy Friday to you. Let's touch on another finance-related piece of this puzzle, gang, if you don't mind. We had posted in the community forum recently this question for qualified buyers on select models. So we're seeing things like new incentives coming back. We had a video go out recently where we talked about the fact that new car incentives are slowly but surely starting to creep back up. And we have this language tied to those incentives. Quote, for qualified buyers on select models. This is on the community forum. Kimberly, you were tagged. Jim asked the question. Let's talk about it here.
And I thought it was a really great question because we've all heard that really fast talk at the end of the commercial where it says for qualified buyers only and $27 for $1,000 finance. You've heard that, right? I can't do it. If you pull up a couple of different manufacturers, for example, Subaru, Honda, Mazda, even and Toyota. They all say the same thing, but they all read a little differently. They all want for APR incentives, say it's 2.99 for 36 months for qualified buyers only. What is a qualified buyer? That's going to be somebody with a tier 1 credit. Some of those terms and conditions that you read the fine print will use the term tier 1 credit. That's usually a 720 plus. But there's two things I want everybody to know. The finance manager has a relationship with that captive lender that if you're kind of on the teeter-totter, ask the finance manager, well, can you call your buyer? Can you call your lender and get me a tier bump? Because if you don't qualify for that, maybe you're not a 720, maybe you're a 718, and the finance manager is going to come back and say, well, you don't qualify. Know your credit first, people. First and foremost, know your credit first so that you can have this discussion with the finance manager if for some reason they come back and say you don't qualify. Push back on the finance manager. As I put in the little thing here, work the finance manager. I know what my credit looks like. I should qualify. Can you please call your buyer from the lender and go over this with them? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can tell you from having been with BMW and Mini, that they would use typically Experian as their primary source for credit scores. If TransUnion or the others were higher, well, and put you at the higher tier, you could send that copy into BMW or Mini Financial and ask for a tier bump based on the secondary credit score that they would accept. And oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, you would get it. It was almost automatic. They would give it to you. And sometimes, as you know, Kimberly, there can be a 60, 70 point swing between TransUnion or Experian. Don't know why, but there is. So yeah,
a lot of times.
Sometimes you might just have to ask the finance manager, well, have you run all three bureaus?
Have you looked at all three bureaus?
Yes.
Is there a different bureau you could send to the lender to get me that tier bump? So point being, push back on the finance manager, but you got to know your credit first. And I always recommend that. And the second thing is, a lot of people don't know CPO units have typically APR incentives. So if you have tier 1 credit and you go in and buy a CPO, I don't know, Subaru, and you get hit with a 10% interest rate because it's technically a used vehicle, ask the finance manager, what are the APR incentives on CPO units or on certified pre-owned vehicles? Do a little research on that first to see what's out there. But a lot of people don't know that CPOs, they also have incentives as well.
And I think you're going to see a lot of people taking an interest in these types of incentives as OEMs step up to try and move inventory. We had the news that we did in the main CarEdge channel video today, the first time in 20 months that the average transaction price fell below MSRP last month. We saw incentives slowly but surely start to tick up. And so you're going to see more and more people ask this exact same question as was posted on the community forum, because people are going to be confused. What does it mean to be qualified, and what vehicles can qualify? And you're going to see more and more incentives like these, I think, crop up over the next couple of months.
And Zach, if I may,
go for it.
Somebody could have a credit score of 730, 740, okay, but have no auto credit, and their high credit might be $1,000 credit card. Well, that's not going to qualify. That doesn't mean that you're qualified buyer for the specialized interest rates. So it's not just credit score, it's credit history, what that score is based on. If you have a thin file or you have no auto experience, you very well, even with a high credit score, might not qualify for those specialized interest rates. Just something to realize.
Exactly. It's a picture. It's a picture. It's a puzzle. It's a picture you have to put together. But there are disclaimers for all these manufacturers. They all read a little bit differently. So I say do take a look at that fine print.
Definitely. I just dropped a link in the chat. We wrote an article a long while ago on what credit scores car dealers use. And I have put that in the chat because it's a worthy read as we're having this conversation. Please go check it out. You can even, here, I'll pull it up on the screen. You can even watch one of the original CarEdge videos.
Woo!
Man, Pop, you remember filming that at my old house?
I sort of do. I sort of remember that guy. He was a little thinner and he had a lot more hair. Wow, it's amazing what 3 years can do to a person.
Oh, I think you look better today. I think you just get better and better every year.
You've aged nicely. Hey, Pops, you said something, and Kimberly, you corroborated it, and it got my gears spinning for a second here. I didn't prep this at all, but that should be not unexpected for you too. So you said, both of you said, different credit bureaus are going to come back with wildly different scores. That can happen.
Yes,
it can.
I was earlier this week. I was out and about, and I was at some dealerships, and I was having some conversations about CarEdge with them and helping them understand what we're trying to do. I've got in front of me, I'm not going to say what it is explicitly, but it's from V Auto. It's an appraisal report, and this is for a 2022 BMW. Okay, I've got book values here from MMR, JD Power, Black Book, and KBB. Guys, the swing in values, because it's not just credit score values that can be all over the map. This is from V Auto. The swing in values on this car range from $44,846 is one of the book values on the car. And another one is $66,000. That's a $22,000 swing. I got it pulled up right here, right in front of me. $22,000 swing in book values on a used car that a used car manager is supposed to be appraising to potentially buy or have a trade-in on. What the heck? What the heck? So it's not only Experian and Equifax and TransUnion that come back with different numbers. It's getting numbers from MMR, JD Power, Black Book, and KBB. $22,000 swing on a BMW is insane.
You know what that says to me?
Huh.
That points to the value of an experienced used car manager. Somebody that has 10, 15, 20 years of experience and knows exactly what the value of a vehicle is without ever having to look at a book. Based on his local market conditions, what he has seen over the course of time, wholesalers and dealers that he might know, so that he would have a better understanding as to what they would pay for it. Books are great. There's a reason they're called a guide, because that's what it is. Just a guide. It's not etched in stone. It doesn't mean it's right. It's just a guide, and you have to look at that guide and utilize that and your experience to really have a clear understanding as to what something's value really is. Just there's value in experience. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, that's really interesting too, because whenever I go to the dealer's going to sell that BMW, and then I have to structure that deal and send it into the bank, the bank may or may not tell me which book value that they'll take. So some will want NADA book.
I'm peering over here because I know if I'm the bank, which one I want to use. It's the one that values the car at $66,000. And if I'm the used car manager and I'm doing a trade-in, I'm using the KBB number that values it at $44,800. I mean, just let that sink in for a second, and I hope I'm not disclosing too much, but KBB, the one that's owned by Cox Automotive, is the lowest number on here by a mile. So why does that, that with good reason?
What was MMR on it?
51.3.
Oh, so what does that tell you about Cox? What does it tell you about Kelly? It tells you that as a consumer, if you're looking at Kelley Blue Book, you're looking at the wrong book.
Well, do you want to know the really spectacular aspect of all this, Dad? There's two KBBs. There's a dealer KBB and there's the KBB.com.
Yes.
So the KBB.com is very low. The KBB dealer is significantly higher. The MMR is significantly higher. I mean, it's just the BS in this industry is through the freaking roof. Let's jump back to the chat here, though, and
it's never ending.
Lighten it up with a few dance moves. Dad, I got to teach you some new. No, we got to teach him some new moves. I like the original move. That one's good. But you can hurt your shoulder. I don't want you to hurt your shoulder. Thank you, Dave.
It's hard to come up with a move when you're sitting on a chair. I mean, it's like, and I'm not getting up because there's no room behind me, so I'm not getting up to do an actual dance move. That way I would hurt myself. Yeah.
From Honey Buns, I'm scared. So you could always just do the.
There you go. Yeah, do that one. There you go. Yeah. Disco Ray.
Mark Miller, KBB ain't the one to use. No, Mark, no. I'm literally looking at the printout from the dealership, man. Like, it's a total game. All this is a total game. I hate how this industry works. It's really, really quite ridiculous. Looks like you got something on the tip of your tongue, Kimberly. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, you're right. It's very subjective. That's why I say deals get massaged when they get sent into the bank. Deal structures can be manipulated here and there, and every single deal is different. This is not a black and white industry.
This industry is so far from cut and dry, opaque, anything. No, it's the most confusing and intentionally obfuscating industry ever. It's really quite strange. That being said, it is Friday, and we do have quite a few success stories, and I want to make sure we get a chance to hear Pop's his Friday win, because I know recently he struggled to come up with them. But Kimberly, do you have a Friday win? Because I can always kick us off if you don't.
Please kick us off.
All right. We've had so many success stories come through recently over on the community forum, and I know this one from Laura is one that makes us all proud. Laura just did an absolutely incredible job purchasing her new vehicle. And the thing that was great about this was how empowered she was, and also the fact that she worked with Wings, one of our credit union partners, to save a ton of money on her financing. So just an incredible success story. I'll link it in the chat. And I know, Kimberly, you were in here right when it came out, just telling her how proud she was.
I was very
sharing
proud.
it with the ladies and Driven for Women. So super proud of Laura. Job well done.
Well done. I love that. I'm going to play Ray this week. I don't have a success story ready.
I can come up with another one.
I have a success story. What the folks don't know is that our family's going on a vacation on Sunday, and well, I'm packed. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
He's in vacation mode. He's in vacation mode.
You know the worst part about being in vacation mode? I have another show I have to do in 16, 17 minutes. And then my son, God bless him, has decided that we need to film several more videos for next week at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So my success story will be if I make it to 4 o'clock this afternoon to do these videos with him.
Fingers crossed. Hey, want to remind everyone back at CarEdge.com, we are here to help you. No matter what you might hear out there, we truly are on your side. If you're going to buy a vehicle, we can help you with that. If you're going to sell a car, we can help you with that. If you're going to finance, I'm getting a little feedback from one of you too, but that's okay. If you're going to finance a car, we can help you with that with our credit union partners. We have our insurance agency where we did a YouTube poll recently. Everyone's insurance rates are going up. Please cross shop them, at least see if you can get better rates by switching to another insurer. We have the extended warranty, the vehicle service contract, still the cheapest rates that you can find out there. We don't resell your data or anything like that. And all the various resources like our dealer reviews, the free guides, the CarEdge data, our community forum, deal school, just so much stuff back at CarEdge.com. Truly, hopefully, we're building one of the longest lasting and most impactful pieces of tools and resources that consumers can use to navigate buying a car. So feeling very proud of that on this Friday. We are absolutely here to help.
I've heard that somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Although there are some who would suggest that we're not, but they shall remain nameless.
I can't imagine who that might be. That's insane. Oh, Florida
and a
man.
very
Thank
thoughtful super sticker here from Florida Man. We can end today with the dinosaur. Interesting, the T-Rex. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, my success story will be after I can squeeze myself into somebody's suitcase so I can get on that plane with you. So my success story will be when somebody unzips me and I end up on vacation.
Well,
with
we'll
you
do our
guys.
best. Yeah.
We'll see you there, Kimberly. Hopefully, hopefully we'll all make it there in one piece. Pops, go enjoy your show with Justice over on CarEdge Electric. Kimberly, enjoy the remainder of your Friday and hopefully have a great weekend in store. And everyone who joined us today, we appreciate you being a part of the CarEdge community and here on the Ray and Zach channel. It means the world to us. Have an awesome Friday. Go for it, Pops.
Well, I would normally say at this point, hey, we'll be back here on Monday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, 8 Alaska time, 6 a.m. Hawaii time with more news that you can use. And I've heard a rumor that there are those on our staff that will carry on the tradition of the live daily show while we're on vacation. So for those of you who will be filling in as guests, we truly appreciate it, and we promise we'll be back. Well, the two of us, the three of us, the regular team will be back sometime in the not too distant future.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Pops. Love you. Oh, I was about to say love you both, but that'd be kind of weird HR. But I love you, Dad. And Kimberly, I admire you beyond belief. I'm going to press the end broadcast button.
Bye-bye.
I think very highly of Kimberly, and I do love you, handsome.